Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And today, I thought we'd take a look for Wednesday at the second lesson that's assigned for morning prayer, and that is from St. Luke's Gospel. We're already up to the 23rd chapter, which means that we are now in the middle of the Passion narrative. This is the story of our Lord's Last Supper, which is followed then by the agony in the garden, which is followed then by his arrest, his trial, and his crucifixion, and ultimately his death upon the cross. We're in the middle of that now, and chapter 23 and verse 39, where we start today, Jesus has been crucified and is now hanging upon the cross, and he has an interaction with those thieves who have been crucified on either side of him. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, "If thou be the Christ, save thyself and us." But the other answering rebuked him, saying, "Dost thou not fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man hath done nothing amiss." And he said unto Jesus, "Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom." And Jesus said unto him, "Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise." And it was the 6th hour, and there was a darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. And the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent in the midst. And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, "Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit." And having said thus, he gave up the ghost. Now when the centurion saw what was done, he glorified God, saying, "Certainly this was a righteous man." And all the people that came together to that sight, beholding the things which were done, smote their breasts and returned. And all his acquaintance and the women that followed him from Galilee stood afar off, beholding these things. It's always so somber to have to read those words. I mean, this is the important part of that gospel, the crux, right, which is another word for cross. But it is that central point where we know that Jesus' entire purpose for his incarnation, the second person of the Trinity, being born, taking human flesh in Mary's womb, and then being born, growing up among us as a human being, his entire trajectory leads to the cross, because he's there to pay the price for our salvation. And with that, so he does. And yet, even in the midst of this pain, we hear two things that Jesus says that always are awe-inspiring to me. First of all, he prays for forgiveness for those who are crucifying him. Father, forgive them. And now we have this interaction with the thieves, one of whom rails at Jesus. "Save yourself and save us." But the other one understands. He's getting the just rewards of his deeds. And yet he knows, perhaps by reputation, perhaps by divine inspiration, but he knows that Jesus Christ is not there for a crime, but because of the envy of the people, the leadership. Remember me when you come into your kingdom. That is the ultimate prayer of acknowledging that Jesus Christ is in fact Lord and King. And by asking to be remembered, he's placing himself as one of Jesus' subjects. He is now a follower of Jesus Christ. Today, you will be with me in paradise. May we, by faith, also claim Jesus Christ as our Lord and our King, and desire to be with him in paradise. And we receive the same promise. Today's Wednesday, 12:15, Holy Communion. And you can either watch it online or, even better, join us for church and receive Jesus in the sacrament. And I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday full of blessings.